coaching?
I can't get away from this guy. I thought it was God speaking to me from behind me. So.
Now you've had a night to sleep on it. Why more than anything else did you guys lose last week?
We played poorly, and I think their aggression at the start of the game helped us do that.
Have you thought more about Bynum? Do you think he's going to play well?
I think he's going to be fine.
You just playing mind games with him last night?
No, I talked to him this morning. He feels like he's okay. You know, I was worried that he was, impinging his ability to play by, concern about his, his health or his status. And he says he's okay.
What did you see last night that brought you to that conclusion last night?
What? Say again?
What did you see about his game last night that brought you to that conclusion?
Well, there was a play where Dragic takes the ball to the basket, made a three-point basket on it, and Drew went over and picked up his third foul, I think it was. And he came down on that knee specifically and was able to, hold his own and came out of that without any problems. And that was a concern, and I wanted to talk to him about it this morning, and he said he was fine.
Phil, have you ever seen an NBA team play that much zone in one game?
Yeah, I have. I'm trying to remember if it's New York or,
Not very often.
Golden State, never in a playoff game.
Can you tell that Andrew's favoring that knee at times over the last several weeks?
No. I've seen it before, but I thought he ran okay last night. That's the other thing I wanted to watch on tape to make sure he looked like he was running.
Phil, what do you have to do to combat this zone? Anything special, or just keep running the triangle and finding the open?
Well, the triangle obviously is an overload offense for you guys that are pundits. And so you basically take a zone into an overload, which is natural anyway. But the idea of the movement that comes out of the overload is important for us. And, our movement was poor and inconsistent. Passing was very poor at that time. In the second half, we figured it out, and we played well against it, but our defense is what faltered in the second.
The 32 threes, the result of you guys not handling the zone well, or was that the same thing we saw in the first round, just you guys didn't execute the offense the way you wanted? That would have been the case whether it was zone or man.
Well, there's a reason why some guys are open. Those guys that were open that took some of those shots have to figure out why they're open. Because they're not closing out on it. So they have to be resistant and take the better shots.
Even though Andrew's not, he obviously knows he has a torn meniscus. Is he not his aggressive self, knowing that he can't go full hard, that he could hurt it more?
I think it's possible, and it's also possible because the change that they made in the brace and the wear, so he doesn't get the full extension now. So he's running the limited extension. It still may be an issue, but it's not really about me. I think it's about that individual perhaps that holds him back from running full out. I think he's going to be okay.
Phil, given that Nash may have a broken nose, do you expect that to affect him in any way?
This guy's gone through a lot of stuff in the last 2-3 years in the playoffs. I don't think it's going to bother him. I think, second thought, Ginobili, it really affected his game. I thought his game really tailed off after the broken nose, so it's probably an individual thing.
In the first two games, it seemed you kept Nash out of the paint. In game 3, it seemed like we found those seams. Why or how?
He stayed aggressive with the ball. We made him stop, pick it up, detour, etc. in the first couple games. This game, I thought he still edged, sought to get a little deeper, came around the baseline with the ball, continued his dribble. We did get the ball stopped.
Phil, how much healthier is Kobe since Game 4 of the Oklahoma City series, and is he looking for just like a different player out there with Kitty?
Yeah, this again is an issue that we have to monitor, and he has to monitor, I think, from game to game. And the duration and distance between these games have helped him out a lot.
Yeah, Phil, what does Shannon Brown need to do to stay on the court more, or to get on the court more? I know Kobe's always there, but what do you like to see more from him?
Well, he needs to have a better understanding of what his guard role is. He's having trouble, reading the defense. His aggressiveness offensively, his athleticism, all those things are very positive, and we need them. And little errors or mistakes that he makes in the process of being between scoring and, operational guard role. Those are the things where he's growing.
So Mari's aggressiveness is obviously different than the first two games. Would you be surprised to see him keep that up for 2 games in a row? That's kind of been the MO on.
Well, if it's successful, I don't see why they won't continue to try and do it. I mean, that's probably what they're going to look for. Both he and Lopez were a factor in that win.
As much as you guys seem to miss Andrew's size a couple of years ago against Boston, do you have concerns about, if you're fortunate enough to advance, what he might be able to bring against the front line that they have?
We just have to be concerned with this one right now. And this is the only thing there is the Phoenix series. And if you don't just stay focused on that, there's nothing else. So you have to play immediately for this series and forget about whatever else is down the road. Andrew, the start of the playoffs when this initially happened, we discussed holding him back, having something procedure done similar to what Brandon Roy had done, or maybe getting back for later on in the playoffs. It just didn't make sense for Andrew, so we just going forward every game.
Why didn't it make sense?
Too long duration. And Andrews hasn't responded really. Everything that he's done, the therapy and the procedures that have been done in the past have taken longer than so a 3 or 4 week could have been 6 or 8. It's too long.
So how does Robin Lopez change the way you defend them if he's successful like he was last night?
Well, he's got great size. Picks are really an asset for Nash to use. He did some things shooting the ball early in the game. Surprised us. His 15-foot shot, his range. Got rebounds and dunks, obviously. But his size, I think, bothered us a lot of his own aspect of territory.
How much did Lopez benefit from Bynum being out?
Some, I think the speed can hurt. I think we can go small with him in the lineup and still have that speed and mobility. So I'm not that concerned about it.
Last question, guys.
Phil, I know you like to get these things over with.
Yes.
As a coach, don't you like it with the low competitiveness now, figuring out how to be his own and all that kind of good stuff?
Oh, it's just so much fun. I can hardly wait for tomorrow.
Thanks, guys.
Anything else? Did you guys lose last week?
No, he's going to do a good job at controlling the tempo. Kind of set the pace right from the beginning. I think since the first quarter, we were kind of playing catch up, especially as far as the pace is concerned. We have to do a much better job at controlling the pace.
The zone obviously gave you guys trouble. Do you need to maybe go back to school on zone offense today?
Again, take our time. The zone is put in by teams when they're saying that they're having trouble stopping you. Again, we were right there, 90, 92, 96, 98, 90, 92, I think going into the fourth quarter. So we were right there and doing all the things that we needed to do to combat the zone, start taking our time, getting stops, which helps, so we can't set up as fast. When we take care of the basketball and control the pitch, we should be all right.
Is that something that, I guess, aided your confidence in the series, that even in your loss, 2 wins you guys won, took it away easily in the end, and this one, when you lost, was close? Meaning, does it still help it aid your confidence that, hey, even in the loss, you guys are pretty close? It's not like the other two.
Yeah, we were right there. We were right there in the game. The game was for anybody's to take. But like I said, they came out and they controlled the pace right from the beginning of the game. You know how they wanted to play, and they controlled the tempo.
What you see different in the zone? Kobe said you guys started figuring out what, toward the latter stage of the game, that you
the ball in and out. And you have to penetrate the zone rather than just swinging around the perimeter. When you're swinging around the perimeter, you want to just take your jumpers. You have to find a way to penetrate, break it down.